Okay, after reading through the webpage and going through some of the links on this site, I'm going to focus on a few main points. I have to say, as a Canadian student and a prospective teacher, all of this is very, very new to me. Although I am aware of the No Child Left Behind Act and the Common Core state standards, I have to say that the ESSE is very new, and I actually didn't know anything about it. When looking at the Council for Exceptional Children's summary of selected provisions in the Every Student Succeeds Act, the ESSA, it starts by stating that this act was passed in December 2015, which reauthorizes, reauthorized the Elementary and Secondary Education Act and the No Child Left Behind Act. For starters, this act transferred authority for accountability, educator evaluations, and school improvements from the federal government to the state and local district. I think this is important because no two states are alike. Having the ability to take ownership of your own standards can ensure that the majority of the students in your state will succeed. This act ensures that states will be able to choose their own standards in reading and math without interference from the federal government. For children with disabilities, this act ensures that these students have access to general education curriculum, ensures access to accommodations on assessments, ensures concepts of universal design for learning are implemented, and that the local education agencies are providing evidence-based interventions in schools. All of these are important for these children, and they should be able to access them whenever needed. Definitely, if this is going to help with their success in an academic setting, they definitely should be able to access them whenever possible. Okay, well, when looking at the academic content and the assessment content in this act will maintain an annual statewide assessment in reading and math in grades 3 to 8 and once in high school, as well as science tests given 3 times between grades 3 and 12. As a Canadian student, I have only ever taken 4 standardized tests, 2 in elementary school and 2 in high school. And from what I've heard in the States, students write a ton of standardized tests. Therefore, I assume that this is going to limit the amount of standardized tests that are allowed to be given. If this is the case, I think that's great. Standardized tests are very stressful, and a lot of students get anxious when writing these tests, so if we can limit them in the school, I think that's the best option. So that being said, they will be removing adequate annual yearly progress and will replace it with statewide accountability systems. I am not quite sure what this entails, and I would love to learn a lot more about it. So if any of you that are watching my video know more about this and would like to explain it to me, I would really appreciate that. This act will help states improve their low-performing schools, and it will authorize the use of federal funds for states and local school districts to conduct audits of state and local assessment systems to eliminate assessments that do not contribute to the students' learning. So if these students are taking standardized tests that don't help them in the long run, they shouldn't be taking them. And I think that's what this is saying, is that it will eliminate anything that won't help them succeed. As mentioned before, the states will be able to choose their own challenging standards, and the federal government is not allowed to mandate or tell the states that they have to adapt or maintain any particular set of standards, including the Common Core, which I think is great. I think all states are unique. I think all schools are unique, and I don't necessarily think that everybody should be following the same standards. Okay. So when looking at how the universal design for learning is addressed in the policies and this act, again, I don't really know much about the universal design for learning, but when I was reading through the website, there was a lot of information on there, so I think I have a little bit of a better understanding of what they are kind of trying to get at and what they're talking about. So in this act, they have the universal design for learning is addressed very clearly. They have to implement a set of high-quality student academic assessments in math, reading, or language arts, and science. These need to be developed using the principles of universal design for learning. The state's educational agency may establish an innovative assessment system if need be. Those who do use this system must demonstrate in their application that the system will be accessible for all students. So that means that it should be accessible for the students that have disabilities as well as the students without. This act states that providing technical assistance to local education agencies to improve the ability of local educational agencies to use technology has to be consistent with the principles of universal design for learning to support the learning needs of all students, including students with disability and English language learners. This aspect of the question was very hard for me to understand. As I said before, I don't really know much about it. I'm just learning. We don't have a lot of this stuff in Canada. It's very unique here, and we have the ability to be creative, and we have versions of the No Child Left Behind Act, but we don't have these specific acts, so I'm learning all about it, and any information that you guys can give me on the universal design for learning, I would greatly appreciate it because I would love to learn more. Thank you for watching my video and have a great night.